All right, let's give you now those live visuals at St. Peter's Basilica, where Pope Francis is lying in state. Of course, there you see on your screen those long queues from those mourners. Mourners have been filling into St. Peter's Basilica for the viewing since 11 a.m. this morning, after barriers, of course, to the Vatican were opened roughly around 4 hours ago. We understand some had been waiting there for hours for the opportunity to enter. Once inside, the crowd then narrows into what you're seeing there, a slow-moving queue as people pay their final respects to Pope Francis, whose body is lying in the open casket there. All right, let's go to the Vatican now, where our correspondent John Beaver is standing by for us. John, of course, good afternoon to you. We saw those striking yet somber visuals of the Pope's coffin being moved from his residence to St. Peter's Basilica, and the visuals, of course, of the cardinals. Describe those scenes earlier that we saw, and of course the mood there now as the crowd of mourners start going into St. Peter's Basilica.
Yeah, I think it was a very somber procession, as you might imagine. I saw people crying, some applauded as the Pope's body was taken past them in a simple wooden casket. And I think for a lot of people this was their chance to say goodbye personally, and that's what we're seeing now with the queues that you were just talking about there, of people waiting to get in to the Basilica to see the lying in state. And yes, it's somber. There's a lot of people here trying to make their way to St. Peter's, and then mixed in with all of those as well, of course, of people who were already here on holiday or had trips booked. So it's a real mix of people, but I think a lot of people who find themselves in Rome just by chance at this time are coming here anyway, because there is definitely a sense that this is an historic moment, the passing of one pope, and then, as you talked about there, the conclave that will take place probably, we think, on May the 5th or 6th, to then find the next pope. So we are in this transitionary phase at the moment, but this week really is all about the funeral itself. That is the culmination of this week, that taking place on Saturday. And yes, before then, as you can see, absolutely thousands of people streaming past. Something in the region, they think, of 20,000 people watched the procession earlier. Many thousands more expected over the coming days.
I want to talk about just the numbers and the risk that poses from a security point of view, if any. Let's talk then about how things are looking now from a security perspective. While Rome is, of course, always a place of pilgrimage for Catholics, but given that this year is a Holy Year, Jubilee, one can imagine the tightening of security measures. And as you've also just indicated now, just today, 20,000 and upwards of people lining to obviously view the Pope's body.
Yeah, that's right. You can see behind me we've got some police cars here, and that is a very common scene now in Rome. There is a heavy police presence everywhere you go. If you keep walking down this road towards St. Peter's Square, you have to go through a security checkpoint, so they are taking no chances in terms of the security risk. Of course, that will step up significantly when world leaders arrive in the coming days as well. We've seen mounted police go by. There are police holding something that looks like an anti-drone deterrent, something that can literally sort of shoot the drones out the sky, as it were. So all of these things are very much in place here in Rome and in the Vatican as well, as security tightens up ahead of the funeral.
All right, John, thank you so much for that. John Beaver standing outside there for us near St. Peter's Square, of course, just giving us a sense of what is happening there at this moment. Let's continue then to put a spotlight on this coverage. Pope Francis, widely recognized for his advocacy on climate change, has consistently used his platform to address the environmental crisis head-on, from calling for urgent global action to confronting the leaders of fossil fuel companies at the Vatican. His messages on the climate emergency were clear and unwavering.